is going to be a very special evening. And what I would like to do is begin by challenging all of you sitting here with some questions to think about as we come together in the next hour or so to talk about the reality in Iran. Here's the question I want those of you who are students to think on. How would you feel as a student here in the United States if you were denied the right to go to any public school or any private university, and you were denied that right because of your religious affiliation? What would you want people to do in order to defend you and to work towards your freedom from incarceration and for the freedom of those who tried to give you the gift of an education? These are the questions we are going to probe tonight, because the reality is that in Iran we do have a government decree that says any person of the Baha'i faith is disallowed by law to engage in any higher public education at the public or private university level. And any professor caught with a student trying to engage that student in the study of education, then he or she and they will be imprisoned as enemies of the state. This is the reality in Iran. And we want to bring this to your attention tonight.
Anyway, so excited to be here. I usually get emotional very easy. To actually have this freedom to talk about what I believe. As we were watching that documentary, what came to my mind, one of the other questions was that, how many of you would have continued education under those circumstances, knowing that you would be arrested? My personal story and what I'd like you all to know, because life is not easy. Nobody has promised us a rose garden. It's a challenge, no matter where we are or what we do. But I want to reassure you that going through hardship, especially when you lose a loved one, I don't know, for some reason you become stronger. I know I'm crying, that there's no sign of being strong, but it's just emotion. I would have never thought I would be able to work long enough to be retired.
Yes, the question was, did you know that the police were going to come and raid your home that night?
Yes, well, actually, Shiraz was one of the very first cities that it was attacked. There were 400 homes of the Bahá'ís that was put on fire. There was this mob starting from one part of the city, all in black, and what they had already identified the homes of the Bahá'ís. There were about 4,000 Bahá'ís in Shiraz. And so they were coming down to us where we lived. So actually we got out and we went to one of the hotels, which was in outskirts of the city. And we pretended we are passengers, we are traveling. It was very difficult at those times because Ayatollah Khomeini had given the decree that if you see anything suspicious to report it to the authorities. So here we are with two school-going children. What are we doing in a hotel? You know, they should be in school. But we were kind of in hiding in a hotel. And my husband, we even didn't go to the restaurant to eat because we were afraid that we would be arrested because we have the children. And My husband was a university professor there, and so he was well known, and we were afraid that people would, recognize him. So eventually they did come to our home. They were armed with machine guns, and they took everything we had. And then they wouldn't stop there. And then my husband also was one of the members of our local spiritual assembly, because we don't have clergy in Baha'i faith, but we have administration system, and he was one of those members. And of course, they accuse you from being a spy, American spy, I don't know, Zionism or whatever, so they have a reason to arrest you. So we knew that you're coming, and we were prepared. So as they were coming, when my father-in-law actually called us and said they're on their way, then we got in the car and got out of town. And we learned that there are drug smugglers who smuggle people out and then smuggle drugs in. So we had to trust the drug smugglers, but we couldn't trust our government. And imagine again that your government is not supporting you and you don't have the safety. The hardship makes you stronger, makes you closer to your Creator. Your prayers become more meaningful to you, and you are not in it alone, and you make it through with shining and teary eyes.